So Balkrishna Doshi was an Indian architect, not just an architect, but also an institution builder and an artist in the last decade of his life. I would actually introduce him to people as a great storyteller. He started off, his venture into architecture was kind of very organic in that sense. It was his art teacher who kind of told him that, he's good at maths and good at drawing. So Doshi's work process was very much like a storytelling narrative, because he would start with a sketch or an idea, and then he would develop that further. Then he would superimpose it with places that he's visited, or he would try to get in the experiences that when we visit any place, I think there are experiences that touch us. So actually trying to understand what is it that touches you and try to bring that into your work. So so his work was like an amalgamation of memories that he carried with himself, like like in a hold-on bag, that you carry stuff with you all the time and in your mind, and then how do you really kind of manifest them in your work. So that was his constant process, and what made it even easier for him was in a way that he used to constantly sketch and write whatever he saw. Even if he attended a talk or a lecture, he would connect it to his project, he would connect it to various things. It was always about making connections between different ways of seeing, and also looking at everything as if he's looking at it for the first time. So each project was approached in a very individualistic manner, even though philosophically it was all based on similar thoughts, but the manifestation of them physically always was very different, because he was really trying to do something new. That whole idea that you start fresh every day with each project, that was very important to him, and I think that was his strength, because it really brought out, it was working very hard each time. So Balkrishna Doshi, when he came back from Paris, India had just gained independence at that time. So he kind of came back at that point, and he had witnessed the Indian independence movement. So he was very much influenced by the thought process of Mahatma Gandhi, who spoke about frugality, who spoke about self-sustainability, who spoke about community. And at the same time, he was also influenced by Rabindranath Tagore, the Bengali poet, who spoke about relationship to nature and how important that was. So I think growing up in that environment, his constant search to kind of what is Indian identity and to kind of really work towards that is something that he really worked very hard on initially. So if you look at his projects, a lot of them have elements which are from historical buildings or monuments, but they are reinterpreted with the technology of today, with working together, whether it's working together with computer or with concrete or with precast elements. So I think the variety of things that he tried at that time is something that is his contribution to the modernity at that point post-independence. Like I said, he never took any project, there was no repetition, because each time he was looking at things as if for the first time. So whether it came to color or it came to even to forms in his buildings, each one is very different. And I think a lot of it comes about from understanding of light. It's about modulation of light in his buildings. It's about sections, wall sections of buildings, because it's also about color also comes with understanding of the hues of darkness, because the whole idea of light and darkness, I think that also kind of connects to color in a lot of ways. Apart from that, it's also his childhood memories of growing up, where he always spoke about narrow staircases, dark corners in the house. In his ancestral home, he had a green wall. So there are a lot of references like that. And apart from that, I think also spending 4 years with Corbusier and Corbusier's love for color, I think some were brushed off on him as well in his work. So this exhibition is put together under 4 themes. One of the themes is about home and identity, which really talks about what is the meaning of a house, what is home. And it starts off from really entering the house of Doshi, a part of his house, as a full-scale installation. It also showcases projects which are from planning projects to experimental projects where he tried to mix different income groups together. So he used to take a lot of, he was quite brave in that ways of trying to really challenge people, challenge authorities to think beyond the normal. And so that section talks about these specific projects. It also talks about how simple things in a township like a water tank can really become a social connector. It really talks about staircases as well as social connectors, breaking barriers between different income groups. So I think it's an approach of a very different kind where the identity is established by the inhabitants and not by the architect. So that is one of the themes in the exhibition. And the second theme in the exhibition, it's looking at institutions which he has built over the years. It's his own office, it's the Indian Institute of Management in Bangalore, it's a school in Ahmedabad, the Shreya School. And all these, they are institutions by themselves, but it's talking about how institutions can really ignite the sense of wonder in students, to ignite even the urge to learn, to really look at things with fresh eyes. So they all kind of work around the concept of really playing with the liminality of space and the elasticity of time in those spaces by how do you really make time is a constant, and yet how do you make time feel longer or shorter? The third part that we have is about shaping education and integrated education. Here we look at one singular campus, which is the CEPT campus, but we look at 3 different institutions on the same campus in the same land, juxtaposed against each other. And I think what is interesting is to see how the same person, like it was really about challenging students again to think beyond what they are taught, like to tell, open up possibilities within the same campus, that this is possible but that's possible too. Like there is nothing that is finite, there is nothing that is limited, and everything is in constant flux, and you can, if you open your minds, there's a lot you can do. It's about achieving a balance even between computer-aided design and handmade structures like the gufa, which was then made with hand. So it's really about craftsmanship and computer-aided design. So it brings a lot of different thought processes together within one space. So when you go to that campus, it's full of different types of experiences, and yet they are all connected in some way or the other. So I think that is the beauty of it. And the fourth theme in the exhibition is about shaping of a city and the institutions within the city. It's about looking at the cultural institutions that he has designed, whether it's a multi-purpose hall, or it's a concert hall, or it's a museum, because I think these places really become magnets for the citizens, and to how does one really look at them, and not just look at them in isolation, but look at that and the ripple effect that they can have around them by being there. So it's really looking at these varied kind of things and about city plans. So these are the 4 larger themes that we have in the exhibition, and they're all supported by full-scale installations as well as by specifically composed music. And the music, the sounds that you hear in the music have actually been recorded on site. The advice that he gave me in the end, and that is the most important lesson that he said was fiction. That in life the most important lesson is fiction, because it's ever changing, ever evolving, constantly modifying. It has no beginning and no end. So I think what he was trying to tell me at that point is not to be too serious to really celebrate life and to really enjoy and have joy in making things. So I think if we find joy in doing what we're doing, automatically we do the right thing. So that is advice he gave me, and I think that's what I would like to share.